Imagine a young university student driving back home in the middle of the night, calling his mother to say he's too tired to continue and will stop to sleep. Hours later, his car is found overturned, with his belongings intact, but he has simply vanished. No witnesses, no traces, just a crashed vehicle and a mystery that deepens with each passing day. This is the case of Bryce Laspisa, a disappearance that defies logic and reason, leaving his parents in endless torment and the world perplexed. What really happened to Bryce on that lonely road in California? Was it an accident, a voluntary act, or something much darker? Prepare to delve into a story of anguish, uncertainty, and the desperate search for a son who seems to have evaporated into thin air. Are you ready to try and unravel the enigma of Bryce Laspisa? Bryce David Laspisa, born on the 11th of April 1995, was a 19-year-old university student in his second year at Sierra College in Rocklin, California. He was described as an intelligent, athletic young man with a good relationship with his family. In late August 2013, Bryce was on his way home to Laguna Niguel, Southern California, to visit his parents, Karen and Michael Laspisa, during the Labor Day holiday. On the 29th of August, Bryce called his mother, Karen, informing her that he was driving home. However, his journey was marked by unusual events. He had run out of fuel at some point on the road and used his parents' insurance to request roadside assistance. A roadside assistance employee helped him, but Bryce took a long time to leave the location. Concerned about Bryce's delay and strange behavior, his parents asked the employee to return to check he was all right. The employee found him still in the same place and convinced him to continue his journey. Hours later, Bryce still hadn't arrived home. His parents, increasingly apprehensive, contacted the police. The police managed to track Bryce's phone and found him in a remote area. The officers who approached him reported that he seemed lucid and friendly, with no signs of alcohol or drug intoxication. They convinced him to call his parents, who asked him to return home immediately. Bryce promised he would. In the early hours of the 30th of August 2013, around 2 a.m., Bryce called his mother again. He said he was pulling over to sleep, as he was too tired to continue driving. This was the last time Karen Laspisa heard her son's voice. From that moment on, Bryce's whereabouts became a mystery. Hours later, on the morning of the 30th of August, Bryce's car, a 2003 Toyota Highlander, was found crashed near Cupelli Lake, in a remote and difficult-to-access area. The vehicle was overturned in a ditch, with the rear window broken. The most disturbing thing was that all of Bryce's belongings, his mobile phone, laptop, wallet, and even his keys, were inside the car. But Bryce was not there. There were no signs of a struggle, nor that he had been forced out of the vehicle. It was as if he had simply gotten out of the car and vanished into thin air. Authorities launched an intensive search for Bryce. Security camera footage from a nearby area showed Bryce's car leaving the highway and entering an access road 15 minutes after the call to his mother. This confirmed he was in the Cupelli Lake area. However, from that point on, Bryce's trail was lost. Divers scoured the waters of Cupelli Lake, but found no trace of Bryce. The depth of the lake and limited visibility made the searches difficult. Sniffer dogs were used in the accident area and managed to follow Bryce's scent across a bridge to a nearby truck stop. However, the trail went cold there, suggesting he might have gotten into another vehicle or simply continued on foot in an unknown direction. Investigators analyzed Bryce's call and message history, as well as his social media activity, hoping to find some clue about his state of mind or plans. However, nothing significant was found that could explain his disappearance. The Laspisa family cooperated fully with authorities, but the lack of concrete evidence made the investigation extremely challenging. What happened to Bryce Laspisa remains an unsolved mystery, and several theories have been proposed, although none of them have been proven. Accident in the wilderness. The area around Costaic Lake is remote and has rough terrain. It's possible that Bryce, disoriented or injured after the car accident, wandered away from the vehicle and got lost in nature. He could have fallen into a ravine, injured himself, and succumbed to the elements. However, extensive searches in the area found no body. Voluntary disappearance. Although Bryce's family and friends state that he had no reason to disappear voluntarily, this is always a possibility in missing person cases. However, the absence of any subsequent contact with family or friends, and the fact that he left all his belongings behind, make this theory less likely. Crime. The possibility that Bryce was a victim of a crime cannot be ruled out. He could have encountered someone ill-intentioned after the accident, or been abducted. However, there is no forensic evidence or witnesses to support this theory. Bryce's parents reported that he had experienced some behavioral changes in the days leading up to his disappearance, including insomnia and anxiety. It's possible that he was going through a mental health episode that led to erratic behavior and, eventually, his disappearance. However, the officers who approached him before his disappearance noticed nothing unusual. The lack of a body, evidence of a crime, or any concrete lead makes Bryce Laspisa's case one of the most intriguing and frustrating. The family continues to believe he is alive and to fight for answers. The disappearance of Bryce Laspisa is a painful reminder of how life can change drastically in an instant. The case gained national attention in the United States, with the Laspisa family making public appeals and using social media to keep hope alive. Bryce's story is a testament to the pain and uncertainty that inexplicable disappearances cause families, and the reminder that, sometimes, the truth can be hidden in plain sight or lost forever. The case of Bryce Laspisa continues to be an unsolved mystery, an enigma that haunts the family and the community. With each passing year, the hope of finding him diminishes, but his parents' determination to discover what happened to their son remains unwavering. Bryce's story continues to be told, in the hope that one day, the missing piece will be found and the mystery will finally be solved. The Bryce Laspisa case is a mystery that leaves us with more questions than answers. What do you think about Bryce's disappearance? Which theory do you find most plausible? Leave your comment below and share your ideas. Your opinion is very important to us. If you are intrigued by this story and want more cases that defy logic and make us question reality, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. In our next episode, we'll delve into another mystery that will leave you breathless. Stay tuned.